Don't wanna let go of this feeling. Lead me to Rome, said the wanderer. There's too many cracks in my ceiling. I've got plenty of time to think of heaven. But right
Okay, well, good morning. Good morning and welcome to Sunday School and Happy New Year, everyone. I am your teacher this morning, Alonzo Richard Fleming. I don't need these headphones. I don't need these headphones this morning for Sunday School. I talk loud enough to hear myself. Anyway, good morning and welcome to Sunday School and Happy New Year to each and everybody within the sound of my voice and the view of my face. I hope your holiday season is going well and that I got to just admit it, people. I had an amazing holiday season, amazing from start to finish. And I'm just excited about this year and what it holds for us all. And I wasn't going to do a Sunday school this morning, but then I said, you know what, let's just get off to a good start. So we'll do an augmented short Sunday school this morning. I'm not going to be long before you, but I wanted to encourage those of you who have decided to, which are many, many more than I thought was going to get involved. I'm just pleasantly surprised. Those of you who have decided to study A Course in Miracles with me through this year, I'm telling you, you're in for a life-changing experience. If you haven't gotten your copy of A Course in Miracles yet, you can get it at Barnes & Noble or any bookstore, but you can still read the lessons online. You can still go to acim.org and you can read the entire Course in Miracles online. You can do the daily lessons there. They literally read them to you. acim.org. But I like holding the book in my hand. It's just something about holding a book in my hand that I like. But many times, like when I'm on the road for work, which they've kind of cranked up my travel schedule for this year, I tend to listen to it online because you can listen as well as read along online. But if you don't want to go buy a copy, you can read the whole course online, each and every lesson. Today, we're going to just go into a quick, brief continuance of how to study A Course in Miracles, how to do the exercises, and how to get the most out of it. You can take from my experience and those who have already studied it for a number of years and kind of get through some of the shortcuts. So this is what I'm hoping to do this morning, just kind of give you more encouragement on that. While we're at it, I want to talk about the seventh principle of Kwanzaa today, which is the principle of Imani. The principle of Imani, which means faith. And on this day, we light the final candle and we celebrate Imani, or faith. And faith, it means honoring our best traditions as a family, as a community. And we look within and above to strive for a higher level of spirituality and a better life for ourselves and for those around us. If you look at this definition, this is what we're doing this morning, striving for a higher level of spirituality, not religion. A Course in Miracles is not religion. If you're a Christian, you can stay a Christian. If you're a Muslim, you can stay a Muslim. If you're an atheist, you can stay an atheist, because your belief has nothing to do with truth. You can believe that there's no such thing as gravity and jump off a building, and you will discover the truth of gravity, and using that for an example. Or you can believe that there is such a thing and your belief is in harmony with the thing, and you jump off a building and you will discover your belief is in harmony with the truth of gravity. But it doesn't matter what you believe. Reality is reality in and of itself, and our whole idea, honoring our best traditions, is a search for reality. Traditions as a family and community. We look within for our best, and we strive and above to strive for a higher level of spirituality. So looking within and above is where that striving is. We look within and above our higher thoughts, not outside of ourselves, but above towards our higher mind, our higher faculties, our God level thinking, as it were. So faith, in using the biblical tradition, it says about the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When I was in school studying physics, I came up with another definition of faith. Faith is the underlying substantial principle that governs the manifestation of all things. The underlying substantial principle, the principle behind gravity, for example. You can't see gravity. Now we're looking for gravitons, a particle, but there is something behind that that's governing, some principle, some invisible principle behind this gravitational force that's governing the behavior of the physical world. So our striving is to try to get to that principle and grab hold of that underlying substantial principle. The Bible says that it is the substance. Faith is a substance. And I'm saying substantial, because if faith is a substance, it would cause it to be physical. I'm saying substantial, meaning it is the power of it. And it is beyond physical and is governing the physical. That is the spirituality aspect of it. So Imani, or faith, is to discover that principle and use that principle to govern the manifestation of all things around you. Do you really believe that you can do that? Do you really believe you have the power to govern the manifestation of all things? Do you really believe that the computer you're looking at, the room you're sitting in, the phone you might be on, just popped out of nowhere? Some mind decided to take a principle and use that principle to govern the manifestation of what you're seeing and what you're using. So while faith is the substance, faith is the underlying principle. Now, the Course in Miracles helps us to discover and touch those principles. And it is a mind training, mind disciplining course, just like it says. It is a course, because an undisciplined mind can accomplish anything. It's just the bottom line. So this discipline helps you to pay attention to your own thinking and be the master of your own thinking. Once you are the master of your own thinking, which you will get a great surprise, I'm not going to share it with you. I'm going to let you discover it. Once you become the master of your own thinking, then faith makes sense to you then. It really does. So let me see here. Let's go through it, because so many people had questions about A Course in Miracles, and I wanted to kind of go back over it, and it's 3 books in one. You have the preface, you have the text, which is the philosophy, and then you have the workbook for students. The workbook is synonymous with the lessons. Lesson 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 365. And then the lessons is really, I call, the meat of the course, because you can read the philosophy and you can read the overall thinking behind it, the psychology behind it, but unless you get the practice, you won't be able, you'll have a more difficult time, I should say, accessing and using the power of it at will. And this is what you want. You want to be able to use the power of it at will, because you have to prove to yourself that it works. See, a lot of people don't go to religious institutions because they have proven that it doesn't work. And the only way they was able to prove it is they tried it. And so this is the same thing. But anyway, the workbook is the lessons. Then there's a manual for teachers. If you want to teach, there's a manual to help you do that. Then there's a supplement in there. Now, the workbook starts on page 1, but page 1 of the workbook, if you can see, is in the middle of the book. See, I'm at the workbook right now. But that's page 1. Well, here's page 1 actually. It's at the introduction to the workbook. The point is, it's in the middle of the book. It's not at the beginning. The beginning of the book contains the preface and the text. Okay? So then the workbook itself starts in the middle. So go to the middle and you will see a page 1. And on the page 1 is the introduction to the first phase of the workbook. And just read that. And then you go do lesson 1. Lesson 1 takes about a minute to do. And this is the beauty of A Course in Miracles. It's not a complicated thing to do. It's simple lessons done for a few minutes a day. Lesson 1, I think lesson 1 through lesson 3 only takes you 1 minute. It takes you longer to read the lesson than to do the exercise. So they're very simple and very powerful. And here's the kicker, people. Here's the kicker. If you grasp one lesson fully, you have grasped them all. If you fully accept one of them, you got them all. It's amazing. So that's a little caveat for you to really do your best. Now, let me quickly go over the course just for a few minutes. I want to get through this, boom, blow through this and be done. The text, talking about the text is the first part of the course, the preface and the text. And like I said, the text is the theoretical foundation. It is the theory behind the psychology and the spirituality of the Course in Miracle. And it helps us to get the most out of the lessons. But if you just do the lessons, believe me, just do the lessons, you're really on the road there. You don't need any preparations. There are no prerequisites except the desire to contact the God level of yourself and actually put it to use. You don't have to go to a church, or you can still go to church. You don't have to go to the mosque, or you can still go to the mosque. It's irrelevant about other things. It is about you and self-discovery. So you don't need any preparation. There are 2 main sections in the workbook. The first section is the undoing. It's the undoing of the present thinking that we have. Now, if you have listened to me last week, you know that when I did this, I talked about the fact that I told you the story about my brother who is in the military, or was in the military, and he retired from the military. And they took him through a process of debriefing. It took about a year for them to debrief him, to process him out of the military. And the reason they had to process him out of the military, people, is because he had learned the arts of warfare, the arts of all the things that they teach you in the military, and a certain lifestyle that you live in under the military. And he had to be processed back into civilian lifestyle. And many times he and I have conversations, and I remind him that, okay, man, that's part of your military lifestyle, and that's why you don't understand civilian. You don't understand a lot of things us civilians do. We civilians are totally undisciplined. When you talk to a military man, we're totally undisciplined, and it frustrates them. And they pull their hair out when they observe the way we conduct ourselves, because we're totally undisciplined to them. because they have for the past 25 years had a very disciplined lifestyle, certain presumptions that they had that you and I don't have under civilian lifestyle. So the military had to debrief him from things like being suspicious of everybody is the enemy, things like it's okay not to do everything perfect in every situation, that it's okay to make them error. It's okay. So certain things. So like he had to be debriefed out of the military. We as a people have to be debriefed out of slavery, because you can be set in a civilization scenario but still have the thinking that was more in line with living under a slave system. And it doesn't matter. You might pick up a better habit here or there, but the basic foundation of your thinking may be still the same. And so you have to be debriefed. And that debriefing is the undoing of the way you see now. And this is what the course does. The first part debriefs us. It debriefs us out of the slave presumptions. And then the second part of the course, it then helps us to acquire true perception. And true perception is seeing yourself as you really are. In the Bible, it talks about, beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it does not yet appear what we shall be, but we shall be like him when we see him. Who is the him? If you don't look inside, you will never discover the him. The him is a reflection of yourself. And the reflection is the true perception, not only for yourself, but for everyone and everything in the world. You will gain a true perception of it. And then the next thing about this training, it's a training in a systematic way to a different perception of everything and everyone in the world. Each lesson is equally applicable to everyone and everything. Okay? You take each lesson, you don't do one lesson, you don't do two lessons today. Do one lesson today. Do the next lesson tomorrow. If you feel like a lesson is really vibing with you, then you can stay on that lesson a couple of days, or whatever. But see, do one lesson per day and be very specific. Do them just as it says to do the lessons. People, I kid you not, you will see, and people who I know who have been studying with me have all said the same thing. They said, oh my God, my life has changed. So I already said, use great specificity. If true perception is received with one person or one situation or one event totally, or if you gain true perception with one person or one situation or event, total transfer to everyone and every person in every situation will be certain. In other words, you don't have to do anything to generalize it, because this is the key. The key is to generalize it. So the generalization process will happen automatically. It's very easy course, guys. It is very easy course. It's a very easy course. One thing you don't want to do is make any exceptions. Don't make any exceptions on your own. Let the course guide you. Do not decide for yourself that there are exceptions to people or places or things that do not apply. In other words, it applies to this person but doesn't apply to that person. Do the lessons. Do the lessons. Okay. The aim of the exercises is to increase your ability to extend the ideas to include everything. Extension of the ideas will include everything and requires no effort on your part. Some of the lessons, people, are going to be hard to believe. Other lessons are going to be quite startling. Other lessons you will not accept. Other lessons you're going to reject. It doesn't matter. Do the exercise. You don't even need to believe what you're doing. It doesn't matter. Do the exercise, because if the power is in the principle, then the principle works whether or not you believe it. Going back to gravity, the principle of gravity works whether or not you believe it. So if you apply the principle of gravity, it don't matter what you think. So this is what we're going to do. I want to say here and now, you do this Course in Miracles over this year, your life will never, ever, 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 ever be the same. One last thing, and I'm out of here. Listen, some of you know me from various parts of my life. Some of you have seen me and these boys go through some horrendous struggles, some horrendous situations, some really, really difficult times. And you saw. So I want to offer myself up as an example. You saw how I conducted myself. You saw my thinking. You heard my words. You saw what I did. You saw it. So you know the power of A Course in Miracles. You saw it. Try it. Listen, I want everybody to have a happy new year. Spend some time with your family. If you have any New Year's resolutions, I'll just share mine with you guys. One of the resolutions we have again is to pick up our Sunday dinners together. Do Sunday dinner and sit down and eat together. We kind of fell off about the last quarter of the year, but we're going to pick that back up. And that's what the boys and I are going to do. Anyway, have an amazing New Year's Day, an amazing 2023. God bless you. And I'll see you on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. This Wednesday, I'm going to share, which is going to be pre-recorded because I have another engagement that I have to do. So I'm going to pre-record it. But anyway, we're going to go right into A Course in Miracles, just kind of follow up on Wednesdays of each week. I'm Dr. Fleming, and I'll see you next week, and have an amazing New Year's Day.
Give me more folly, said the fool. Give me stone silence, said the deaf man.